Fathers Who Bother is made possible in part by the contributions of listeners like you. To support Fathers Who Bother, go to our Patreon page at patreon.com/Fathers Who Bother and become a monthly subscriber today. On the next episode of Fathers Who Bother, I talked to battle rap legend PackFM about being a founding member of Daughter House, the perils of performing in front of his dad, and FM now standing for Family Man. Check it out. What's up, everybody? Welcome to Fathers Who Bother, a podcast for men who are dad as we want to be. My next guest is the revered battle MC, recording artist, and producer hailing from Brooklyn, New York. He began his career in the mid-90s where he notched wins as 88 Hip Hop's MC Battle Champion at the Bragging Rights Tournament in 1999, Everlast Harlem Lyricist Championship in 2003, and many more. He released his debut album, What Does FM Stand For, in 2006, and the follow-up, I Fucking Hate Rappers, in 2010. In addition to recording and touring with his QN5 family, he hosted a podcast in 2012 with our friend Tone Deaf called Tacos and Chocolate Milk, and has made several feature film appearances in documentaries like Freestyle, The Art of Rhyme, Underground Masters, and Flow, For the Love of Words. But today we're going to talk about his gig as a dad. Please welcome PackFM to the podcast.
What's the deal, people?
What's good, my brother?
How's it
It's
going?
been a minute. It's
It's been a very long time. Last time we actually talked on an interview was when I did I Fucking Hate Rappers, and it was
Yep.
me and Tone, we was up there. But yeah, I haven't seen anybody. I don't think most people haven't seen anybody in a little while.
Yeah. We've all been hibernating and keeping it low. But
Yeah.
you've been a busy man of late with the family expanding and growing and all that good stuff. How did you guys make out this last year?
It was interesting. It changed our lives completely because we were on vacation. My wife is from Australia, so when it was just starting to hit the fan, we were on vacation out there, and nobody was taking it serious. It was the end of February, and like I'm out there, and they're like, on the news, all you see is like, oh, there's a cruise ship docked in whatever in the Pacific Ocean that they won't let on because somebody had corona or something. And that was the extent of it. And my mom hit me and she's like, yo, it's getting crazy over here. And I was like, it's barely on the news. And then, touchdown, then things just start to feel grosser to you. Like you don't want to touch anything. Everybody's still walking around. So fast forward, everybody has to stay home. So my mom says she would watch my daughter for me. We gave it to my mom. So they made us buy a car, which is not common in Brooklyn. You don't need a car. So
yeah, I didn't get a car till I moved out to Queens.
Exactly. We
good.
got a car and we bought it in Long Island. And being in Long Island, I was like, this is what people live. Like that was the first time I really traveled outside of my subway limits.
Right.
Like, when we got the car, we went to parks in Hollis. And my only recollection or connection to Hollis was rap. So I thought Hollis was the worst neighborhood in the world. I'm like, yo, Run DMC and LL Cool J from Hollis, staying away from there. I get out there and it's like pretty and houses and all that. I was like, what the fuck? What is the...
That's the secret of the early 80s hip hop, that a lot of those rappers came from middle class families, and it was not, all thugged out and shit. LL was like, I'm in my grandma's basement, but she had a basement in a house.
That stuff. So I'm like, all right. So I was like, this is how people live. And me and my wife said, all right, well, and on the spur of the moment, we were just like, yo, if we can find a place that checks all the boxes, let's just move. Because we don't have to be in New York anymore for our jobs. So we just found a place in Long Island and went in there, just rented this on our gateway to the burbs. So we found a place that checked all the boxes. And we're like, all right, let's just save some money and buy a place out here. So we're changed the whole landscape of my life. Like I haven't been on the subway in a very long time. Like everything is just different now. Like I'm over here mowing lawns. I can't even show you because I haven't touched it in a while, but what I'm saying? Like I'm straight up suburban dad now and whatnot. Like way different than the whole Brooklyn, all because somebody ate a bat and got the world sick.
Well, I made that transition many moons ago. My wife and I, we tried to find a house in Brooklyn that we could afford. This was 20 years ago, and we just couldn't. And this was 2002. when we were looking and couldn't afford Brooklyn then. So you can imagine now if you want a house in Brooklyn,
Yeah, it's
good
ridiculous.
luck. Good luck. So you made the transition out to Long Island. So tell me about when you first found out you were going to be a dad.
Well, we planned it. We My wife apparently went to biology class and knew how to make a baby. She was like, "Yeah, all we gotta do is do it on this day." And lo and behold, it was like, "Oh, snap! It worked!" Like, and
Word.
obviously it's not easy for everybody. Everybody has a different journey, but we were very fortunate where we literally just scienced it out and it worked out perfectly. So, um, she was young. My wife is much younger than me, so she was still in her, early partying days, and she was about to go party with some friends. And she was like, "Before I go drinking, let me just make sure that I'm not pregnant." So she went, and she was like, "Oh, it worked. We're pregnant." And we were like, "All right, let's do it." So we didn't, most people don't tell anybody. We were like, go out to parties and you just be drinking water, pretending there's vodka and whatnot. So like it wasn't like a surprise. It was what we expected. We planned it. And everything went really, really, really smooth. And my daughter was born a couple weeks early, but she was super like absolutely perfect. Like she was like the most perfect child I've ever seen, and even the doctor was like, "This is like ridiculous, this kid." Like, and she's like she's anybody who's ever around my daughter knows that she's something special. Like even from when she was 7, 8 months old, people were like, there's something about this kid.
She talks like a regular person. She's only 2, and I never noticed.
How old is she? How old is she?
She's 2.5 now.
Okay.
But she, she's just tall and she's really a lot more social, and just she can talk really well. Like my favorite story is I was I was drawing something on my computer. And she's asked me to draw shapes, and she says to me, she said, "Daddy, draw an octagon." This is a 2-year-old.
Who taught you octagon?
Right? And then, but when I put the shape tool on, the default is 5 sides. So I started drawing it, and she said, "No, that's a pentagon." I said, "An octagon." And I'm like, all right. So then I changed it to an octagon, and she's like, "No, make it a pentagon again." And I'm like, "Yo." What?
At 2.5?
Yeah, no, she was 2 at this point. This is months
God.
ago. Yeah, so like she's just next level. So, like it's crazy just experiencing a new person, and luckily she's at a rate that's rapid enough that I don't have to live 1 year at a time. It's taking it like 1.5 speed.
Right. So what was going on with you professionally when you found out, when you brought her home? Like, what was going on with you?
Well, my story was when I met my wife in 2010. The day I met her, I said to her, I said, "Yo, I only want to rap for like 3 more years." Like I knew it. I was like, I have 3 more years. So I lasted 4 more years, to the point where I was on tour and I got sick. Not like sick like what, but like to the point where I just didn't feel good. And I just said, I told Deacon, I was like, "Look, I'm just gonna fly home. Y'all finish the tour without me." Like I didn't see a point in being away and not being comfortable just for 60 kids in a room to blow smoke in my face. And like it just wasn't worth it to me. I was just like, all right. So and I just slowed down from there. And my whole thing with making music was, and Tone knows this, I don't enjoy recording songs. I enjoy performing. I've recorded songs and albums so that when I did shows, I had stuff to perform. But the actual process of writing rhymes and getting in the booth and recording and all that stuff, I never enjoyed it. I didn't enjoy the work. I did the work so that I could do the part that I liked. And there's so much other work that you have to do behind the scenes in order to do that properly.
Right.
So I would get obsessed with that stuff because I want to perform and I want to be that guy that can do these shows at the level that I want to do. So I would be there. I would end up checking YouTube. Like there was a time where I could tell you how many people watched a video of mine every day. I'd be like, all right, that's an extra 400 views. Like that's how much I was like obsessed with getting to the point to do these things. So I had to like literally just step back and say, I'm kind of done with this. I want to do some other things. And luckily I have, think I could argue that I'm the best rapper in the world, but
Mhm.
rapping isn't the best thing I can do. You know what I'm saying? Like so I had to like say, all right, what else can I do? And I said, I want to try and, I've been a designer. That's how I made money, because rap doesn't pay a dime. So I was, I had a design career that I've been harnessing. I was like, all right, let's see where I can take this, and, I started working at an agency, and then we realized that people who make a lot of money are usually in finance. So I was like, all right, let me find and get a job designing in finance. And then I started working at like Morgan Stanley. So like the rap thing had just been slowly fading into the background. Now, in my head, I write rhymes every day, like literally every day. I just freestyle, like pretend I'm going next to Black Thought and just writing rhymes and just be like, all right, if I had to sit and rap today next to Black Thought, what would I say?
Right.
So I'll write that rhyme and then I just forget it, because I'm at peace with it. I don't need to record it. I don't need to, tell everybody else what this rhyme. Like I'll write it, and I still to this day I don't think anybody can write rhymes like me. I think people can do it on different levels, like are more frequent or more consistent. But I think the ones that I write, I don't think anybody can touch it. People may be able to spit it better than me, but I don't think anyone can write like me. So, I still keep that part of me sharp. I just don't have to record it and release it to get other people's validation. So I was able to let go of that. And then, then just trying to find a way to use my other creative talents, like designing and getting into the corporate world where they actually pay you a lot of money to do some of the most minimal things. So,
right.
Just harnessing that and just getting to a place where I'm a little bit more comfortable and I can kind of relax a little bit more, because it's stressful doing freelance work or working really hard for less money, which is kind of what rap is anyway. So career wise, yeah, you work really hard for like no money. So I wanted to get it to a place where the stresses in my life were not coming from the amount of effort I'm putting into things like work and things like that. Like the stresses in my life come from, family stuff or anything like that, but it's not work related. So that's kind of where I'm at and where I was at when, we decided to have a kid.
You sound happy though.
I'm definitely
happy. And you see the smile in the sky if you're watching this.
Yeah. Let's do the difference. Let's look at this guy. And let's look at this guy rapping. Look at that anger. Me? You know what I mean?
So what's you talked a little bit about it, but tell me more about what your daughter's like personality wise. She take more after you or your wife?
She's silly like me. She's super silly. But she picks up both of us stuff. Like my wife she loves to have things very, very clean. And my daughter will sneak into the kitchen cabinet and grab a bottle of Windex and then come in here and clean this glass table and will get mad at you if you stop her. So she takes after both of us. Like, I like to sing and make up songs, and she sings and makes up songs. And my wife likes to cook, and my daughter will just be like, I need my apron. And she puts on her apron and she like cooks in her play kitchen. And so like whatever she sees us does, she soaks it up. I don't like to read. She likes to read, so I don't know who she got that from, But yeah, she's just really, really smart. Like when we moved out here, we had to enroll her in daycare because, like I told you, the working from home with the kid is really, really hard. So the first, like, we had the daycare scoped out before we even put a box in the house, and so we got there for just for them to meet her, and she ran the room. She walked in there. They had like this big mat that had the alphabet, and she hadn't turned 2 yet. She was a year and a half. And she walks in there and she goes A, B, and just ran down the whole alphabet. And they were like, these kids don't even know the alphabet. And she's just like running it. And then she's like, and that's Big Bird over there. And then she like sat at their lunch table, started eating their food. Like she's just running things. Because like she's just comfortable. I don't know why she's comfortable. I think one of the things we do is just always make sure she has a positive environment, and that probably makes her feel safe and like it's okay for her to just be herself and do whatever she wants. She still has her tantrums like any other 2-year-old, but she obviously feels comfortable expressing herself and exploring things. to the point where like all we have to do is make sure she doesn't fall off of a cliff. That's all we have to do. Just make sure that you don't grab a knife and you can do anything you want, you know.
So has your wife been tutoring her, or
no?
You
That's
said
the
you
thing. We don't know where she gets it from. We have no idea. I remember the first time she might have said the alphabet. I was like, I didn't teach you the alphabet, but you know all these letters, you know. And
that was our daughter too. We found out she really had been taking to these apps on the iPad.
Yeah.
And watching these websites. I forget the names of them. She's 12 now, but
yeah,
we didn't teach her to read, but she was able to like put words together just on her own. We were like, wait, how is this? But all the stuff, the rudimentary A, I, B, C, she was actually ingesting it and applying it. So we were like, so she was always ahead of her grade level on reading, but it had nothing to do with us. We didn't. Like, I wish I could take credit for it, but she really just was a sponge.
That's kind of how I felt about, like, you know, screen time, because there's always that big controversy about screen time, and I'm like, this obviously from that somehow, some way, because it wasn't me. She was out of daycare for a little while. I'm sure my mom might have taught her some things here, but the way she picked it up, it was at a level that was obviously observed from somewhere. So I never was a person who was like, oh, you can't be on the phone, because she's picking up good things. I'll listen out to make sure that she's not watching something crazy, but, you know, I'll let her watch it maybe a half hour and then make sure that she gets time to play and just balance it out. Like, her whole day isn't on the phone or on the tablet, but when she wants to use it, I have no problem saying, hey, use this and, you know, absorb whatever you've been absorbing, because I don't know where she gets a lot of this stuff. She can count to 20. I didn't teach her how to count to 20. I can barely count. I got to think once I get past 14. I'm like, all right, what's next? That's right, 15, 16. You know what I'm saying?
Parenting via osmosis. The children are just absorbing.
Yeah, it's true though. Like when I'm looking on Netflix and things are in alphabetical order, once we get to H, I gotta say, all right, H, I, okay, it's almost there. You know, like, but she's a sponge in that way. So, you know, I'm not mad at her learning these things and getting them from the tablet, and, you know, it's shaping her personality. She zones out a little bit, and that's when I learned to put on things that she doesn't like, so she just gets bored and walks away.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm like, all right, fine. She's watching this. All right, I know she hates Daniel Tiger. All right, let me just put Daniel Tiger on. And then next thing I know, I blink, she's in her room messing it up, you know?
So she doesn't say, no, change it to something I do like. She just like, oh no, this ain't for me, I'm out.
Yeah, she just says that. And then when I do need her to be occupied so I can do something else, that's when I'll say, do you want to watch something different? And she'll be like, yeah, I want to watch Baby John. Okay, here's Baby John. Give me 5-10 minutes. And then, you know, she doesn't, I'll be like, oh, let me turn it up for you. Oh, all of a sudden Daniel's like, son. She'll get mad and just walk away. You know, like, you just have to learn how to regulate it. And, you know, there's tricks to it. But I know when I was a kid, you know, my mother didn't just sit me in front of the TV, but there was no, oh, don't give them any screen time. It's gonna, and the people who were saying that were probably raised in front of a TV too. It's the technology of the times, you know?
Right.
And then parents before that, they didn't have anything, but the kids sat in front of a radio and just listened. Like, people need entertainment. I feel bad for people who had kids in the 1600s.
Here's a rock.
Yeah, this rock looks like a dog. So pretend it's a dog and stare at it.
Right. It's funny. I was going through some of your classics and I was listening to lessons, and you weren't big on college then. And so it's kind of interesting that your daughter is like this self-taught. Are you going to steer her away from the formal education, or you gonna let her decide?
Figure it out? Yeah, she'll figure it out, because I feel like formal education is just fizzling out now. Like, that was a whole institution set up for people to make money. And, you know, I don't, if she's smart enough to say, you know, I know what I want to do and I can learn it this way, or I can hone that skill without going to college, go for it. That means you have a plan.
Right.
But if she just wants to, you know, kind of get the social aspect of it, pardon me, then I'll let her do that. Like, I'm not going to force her to go to college, because I can't say, I'd be a hypocrite. You know, I went to college a couple times, dropped out every time. Like, it just wasn't for me. So I kind of understand someone who's like, yeah, this isn't the route I want to go. So, I'm not gonna force her. She'll have to go to like high school.
Right.
But even then, if it's to a point where, she's advancing to a certain level and she's not getting anything out of it, then we have to think of alternatives. Like, you just have to pay attention to that. Cause that was my thing. Like, the parts where I failed in high school wasn't because of it was because I was too smart.
Mm-hmm.
And there was nothing being offered to me in school to like really
engage. Yep.
Yeah. And I went to a great school. I was just like, all right, you just told me what happened in the War of 1812. I don't need to listen to you talk about this for 3 more weeks. You just told me.
Right.
Why am I sitting here listening to this again? All right, you told me, all right, if I want to know what X equals, this is all I have to do. All right, thank you. Right. Give me something else. I don't need this. So it got to the point where I was getting really bored. Like when I was and I figured this out early for myself. Mm. I did a class in junior high school and they said, she was like, this is the hardest grammar test that ever existed. Anybody who could ever get 100 on this never has to take another class, never has to take another test of mine again. First time she gave it, I got a 96. Second time she gave it, I got 100 because she told me what I did wrong. And I was like, all right, great. After that, I got 100. Then I started taking it for fun because I was bored. I didn't have anything else to do. And I got 100 every time. So then I was like, all right, well, I'm never coming to this class again.
Challenge accepted.
Yeah. So I never came and she was like, well, I can't fail you because technically you have a 100 average.
Right.
I can't fail you. So I was like, all right. So then I realized, I was like, all right, if they teach you and you get it right off the bat, then you know it.
Right.
You know it. And that's where I was at. Like, that's how I learned things. You tell me something, I try to absorb it and I try to, apply it. And maybe they don't teach that in school. Like maybe they just teach you how to remember, but they don't really teach you how to apply it. Maybe it's different now. I'm an old man. I'm in my 40s. So maybe they do it different these days. But back then they didn't do that.
Right,
they were just make sure you remember it. So.
Memorization, wrote, keep it going, and then regurgitate it back for the test, and you forget everything. Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
I know.
Yeah, so hopefully it's different. And I'm if she wants to if she wants to find alternate ways of learning and education, then I'm all for it. I'm happy for it. Like there's a lot of things my wife and I did that our parents probably weren't happy of that we're going to have to tolerate if our kids want to do those things.
Like what?
Yeah. And just the fact that my wife moved to the other side of the planet to be with me. So that might end up being something I have to deal with when my kids are older. She might be like, hey, I met this dude in Antarctica. He lives on a compound out there. I don't have much of a defense for that at this point. I have to say, I get it.
Right. So, have you played any of? Well, she's young. That's why I was like, has she heard any of Daddy's music?
One time, and she loved it. Yeah, it was. I don't know if you remember Vice Versa from EOW, but he passed away, and we had like it was right during COVID, the height of it. So we had a virtual wake for him, and he used to love when I performed Stomp. And so I performed Stomp in my living room, and she was there, and she was like, yeah, she was having so much fun. She loved it. That's the only time she ever heard me rap. She's seen pictures of me, like that picture right there. She goes, Daddy's singing. And I'm like, sort of. And like she's seen like it may come on, like we were watching Netflix, that documentary, Hip Hop Evolution, and there's a scene where I'm rapping in it, and she was super young when she saw it, but she picked it up right away. She's like, Daddy. So like, but I don't want to shove that down her throat. Like I want her to know me as Daddy. I don't want to try to get that acceptance that I used to seek from my daughter. I want her to, if she comes across or if it becomes part of something, when she's older, fine. But I don't want to like be like, hey, look at what Daddy used to do.
Right.
If she ends up, like, I'll try to play rap music for her. And like, when we listen to music, sometimes like, I forgot what was playing. It might've been Nice. Let's say it was Nice and Smooth. And I'm like, do you like this? And she's like, eh. So what's the point of me saying I used to do that? You know what I'm saying? But if she's like, oh, this is amazing, or if it like sparks something in it, then I'll be like, oh, well, I used to do that. And then she still won't care. So, like there's no point for me to like put that in her face. Like she can see that there. She can see the pictures, just pictures of me here and there. And, that'll be the extent of it for now.
I'd like to be a fly on the wall the day she's old enough to really pick up I fucking hate rappers, and then listen to it.
My mom can't even handle that shit. I wouldn't even. I remember I went to Australia and I gave some of our relatives copies of my records, and I was like, then I realized that the first word of each one of both of those albums is fuck. And I just gave these to like old people. So it's gonna be a while before I say, hey, listen to this.
So in your MC practice, calisthenics that you do every day, do you have any parenting or fatherhood raps that get put together? Yeah.
All the time. I had a dope line in there that I still if I ever record it, I'm gonna find a way to incorporate. But I said something like, what is it? I said something, take it from this old timer. You don't want to be a gold digger, be a coal miner, or something like that. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm every single time, like I'll say rhymes to her, or like I'll picture myself in the scenario where I have to like rap about her or to her. So like, of course it's come up, but I don't feel the need to actually record it yet. Maybe one day. But then it's
no, go ahead.
No, I just saying. Then it just becomes work. I don't want it to become a job. Because then, like I said, you have to then find the beat, pay the guy to give you the beat, go record it. Then it's like I've spent this money on it. Maybe people should hear it. Then you got to market it. You got to make the album cover. I don't want to do all that. I don't.
You've gone from I fucking hate rappers to I fucking hate rap. Like that's
that's kind of what it is. I hate that process, man. So, something might compel me one day to just be like, all right, I'm going to record it. And if that's the case, I have enough experience to be able to do it successfully.
But you got this hashtag daughter house that I've seen floating around. Which I'm guessing is a play off of Slaughterhouse.
Yeah.
So what's the story behind the daughter house hashtag?
It started as a joke. And me and Tone's podcast, we were like, because we had that common gang food. And I was like, let's make a female slaughterhouse where it's like all female MCs and we call it daughter house. That was the idea. And then it just fizzled out. But then all of our friends, we all have daughters. So that was like, we're daughter house. And so each and every time someone like, I'm about to have a kid, she's a daughter. Like everybody just keeps having these girls. So it's like daughter house. And, and it was, what's really weird is they all look alike. It's totally impossible for them to be related, but if you put them in a room, you would think that they're all related. They all look exactly alike. Like I've seen pictures of like on the Mike Dean's kid, and I'm like, oh, that's something. No, that's not something. And you know how there's a photo recognition?
Yes.
One time, me and Blitzkrieg's daughters were on the couch together, and the photo recognition tagged the opposite way.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's funny. So
that's fly. That was the same way with me and my best friend's kids early on. His two boys and my son, they're both, same complexion, similar hair texture, everything. And the running joke was during sleepovers, like they would try to sneak away with the other one. Like he would come pick up his boys and my son would try to sneak away with it. Like, hey, I look just like the other two. They won't notice that they got a third, or if it was reversed, his sons would be like, hey, we just sit real still. They'll just think we're one of theirs.
That's pretty smart though. That's pretty smart of them.
That's awesome. So as you've mentioned, you have another on the way.
Yeah,
congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. We're weeks away from it right now. Like we've reached the less than a month left. Threshold.
So y'all are in the home stretch. Like,
oh yeah,
I can't usually tell from pictures how far along a woman is. So I didn't know if it was like 4 months and 9 months look the same to me. So I'm sure for them they can tell the difference. But I just see a belly and there's a baby. I don't know how far along she is. So wow, that's dope. Yeah. So how do you feel now compared to when you had your first?
Oh, I'm terrified. This is way different. One is one. You can handle that. We outnumber her. We can do whatever. I got a toddler who will have a meltdown if you give her the wrong color shirt. And then I'm going to have an infant. And the thing that you realize about infants is you can't put them down. You just can't just walk away. You have to hold them for like 7 months straight. Like you're just holding this thing for this kid. So, and just outside of that, it's just, people always tell me 2 is like 5. It's like having 5 kids at once. So, I won't have any spare time. I know that much. And I know it's just going to be a lot of, just chasing these 2 beautiful things at the same time.
How have you prepared your daughter for her new sibling?
I would just tell her she has a sister coming, and she's like, "Oh, I'm going to be a sister," and stop smacking mommy's belly because she's in there. Yeah, she's aware that she's going to have a sister soon. We don't have to like give her the details of how it happened or how it's going to happen. We just say you're going to have a sister, and and then we'll bring her home. Hopefully she'll be gentle, but I think she'll have the instinct to be gentle. But she terrorizes our cats, so I hope she, like, I know not to mess with the cats like that. And my daughter's just like, wow. I'm just like, dude, these things can kill us. What are you doing? Like, my cat would destroy me if she wanted to.
Oh, it's like that. The Love, Death, and Robots. There was an episode where the cats took over because they grew opposable thumbs, and that was the demise of humanity, because they can now open their own. Now they can open their own cat food. Yeah, it was season 1 of Love, Death, and Robots. It's hilarious.
Nice.
You should check it out.
I will definitely watch that. I've seen some of the episodes. I missed that one, or I might have like fell asleep at one
season
point.
1 is amazing. Season 2 is okay, but season 1 was dope.
Yeah, because they're like 10 minutes, 15 minutes each, right?
Roughly. Some of most like 20 minutes at the most. But yeah, they're short. You could go through it in a day. So you've got daughter number 2. Daughter house is growing. So tell me, what was your relationship like with your dad?
My pops, me and him are tight. There was like a period where he wasn't around. He had his own personal things that he had to go through, but you always look up to your dad. Me and him are identical twins. I had to teach my daughter in pictures, be like, oh, she'd be like, that's daddy. I'm like, no, that's grandpa. That's grandpa. Like we're almost identical. Except for he's a lot taller than me, like a motherfucker. But once he got his stuff together, he came right back, and he was there. And my sister has a different father, but he treats her like that. To him, that's his daughter. And then he has a younger kid who just turned 15. So he's got him, and he's a great dad. He taught me so much, and we always had a great relationship. I never held anything against him. I kind of understood, like, people go through stuff. He always taught me how to do things. Like, he's a contractor, so he knows how to like build things. So, like, he would always be like, hey, this is how you do this. This is how you do that. Or come help me. Like, nice. He would bring me onto the sites and be like, all right, you want to make $200? All right, all I need you to do is just paint this thing, or here, hold this, or whatever, And, he taught me that. When I wanted to learn how to drive, he gave me a book and was like, well, first read this. This is exactly how a car works. So just learn like how the engine and how the pistons go and what's lubricating what and how the actual combustion works. Like, he's like, learn this first and then we'll teach you how to drive it. I'm a horrible driver, but I know how I can tell you the difference between a Tesla engine and a V8. So, right. So like he taught me a lot of things, and to this day I still call him up when I'm trying to do something like, yo, so if I plug this in here, what's going to happen? He loves it, So we always have that great kind of relationship. He moved to Miami, maybe I guess 15 years ago when my little brother was born. So I probably see him once or twice a year at the most. But yeah, we're mad cool, and unfortunately there was like, honestly, it was like a 3-4 year period. So when you're a kid, that's half your life. But I'm an adult now, and in hindsight, I'm like, yeah, it was very small time. So from 12 to today, he's been there whenever I needed him. You know what I'm saying?
That's dope.
Yeah, so yeah, we always cool, and I wish that we lived closer, that he could experience more of this and be around more. But he has his own family and a new child to raise, and he was giving him just as much of a headache as I gave him. So when I hear him talk about him, sometimes I just laugh. I'm like, yeah, this is what we do. That's how kids are,
He's been able to meet your daughter though.
Yeah, he came up. We brought her down there one time. He came up for Christmas, and and he's gonna come around with the new ones. And so we have that kind of relationship. And sometimes I try and do video calls with him. It's so funny when he does the video call. This is how she sees him on a call. And he's like, "Hey, how's it going?" That's the video call. And I'm like, "Move the phone down." And he's just like, "What?" He's like, "Move the phone down." What? No, move the phone up. What? And I'm just like, what? It's fine.
Yo, that was the reality. In my fraternity, we had meetings via Zoom during the pandemic. We have some brothers who are older, who are like in their 70s and 80s. And it'd be so funny to be in a meeting and just see some of the senior brothers with their Zooms, and all you see is like their eye or like their nose, like they don't realize like they're zoomed.
They're taking Zoom too literal.
Right. Exactly. We're just like, yo, brother so-and-so, you can pull it back a little bit, because right now we just seeing all your nose hairs and everything right now. It's a crazy situation.
Yeah.
What did he have? Did he have any thoughts about your music career when you were performing? Like, what did he think
he was super supportive of it. He came to, I'm gonna say one show. If he came to two, I don't remember, but I remember one show, and I refused to curse. I can't curse in front of my parents. I can't do it. Still, I was in my 30s, probably. Right. Yeah, I had to be in my 30s, and that was the first time he seen me perform. And I told Mecca, I was like, "Yo, just handle the curses for me." I was like, "I'm gonna drop out. I just need you to come in with the curses because I can't do it."
That's wild. Yeah. You had a cursing hype man. Shout out to Mr. Mech too.
I was like, "Yeah, just handle the curses, and I'll do everything." And same thing with mom when I performed. Like, I won't even say hell in front of her. Like, I remember Tone was like, "Yeah, it's a hell of a crowd." I was like, "Don't chill. My mom was right there." Like you're
a grown ass man.
Dude, it's ingrained in your brain. All your habits are formed from a kid. Like, it's hard to get rid of it. Like, yeah, I don't. And to think about it, your parents cursed like crazy around you.
Oh, yeah, mine did. Mine absolutely did.
I can't do it. I just can't. Like, there's a switch that won't let me say the words. So
you're on happy fuck you songs. How are you not cursing?
She doesn't know about that album. I don't know that. She has no idea about that album. She don't know about I Fucking Hate Rappers. She knows what does FM stand for. Right. She knows all the singles.
Right.
But she doesn't know about those. I don't tell her about that.
Oh my goodness.
No. So he was there, and I was just like, I'm not cursing. I can't do it. And but he had a great time. I remember he was smiling like crazy, and I think we put on a good show. It was a regular show.
This is funny to me because this is the man who coined. I'm giving him all the credit. If you ever heard the phrase "a nigga pass," you need to pay royalties to PackFM.
Yeah, thank you. That is me. The people took that and ran with it. And here's the thing: like, there's one dude who probably had the highest views last time I checked. I stay off of YouTube now, but he copied the skit, and it's the same exact storyline. Now, I can understand if you came up with it on your own, like organically. It's like, oh, nigga, that's pretty obvious in my opinion.
Right.
But the storyline of the skit is not logical thinking.
Right.
It's literally the same thing. The guy comes in with the nigga pass, and he has a white friend. He's about to say, and he's like, no. He's like, all right, let's go test it out. Like, it's the exact lineage in the exact same order. And I'm just like,
he recreated the skit.
Yeah. And I was like, and at first I was mad, and I was like, Q&5 fans would do whatever you tell. I was like, go get him. And they were like leaving comments. And this was years ago. And then, so now I'm at a place, Tone hit me up. He's like, yo, this dude's selling them for like $25 a pop or something like that. He's like printed them out or something like that. And at first, and I looked at it and I was like, and then I said to him, I was like, man, let him do the work, whatever. If he makes a lot, if he wants to go through that and do whatever, more power to him. But if he makes a lot of money or this becomes a thing, then we'll get him. But if he wants to run with it now, have fun. Do what you want to do. Like, it's not good because it's the amount of effort of following him and stress that would bring into my life is not worth it to me. Like, let's say I was to be like, hey, let's say he sold 200 of those. That's not enough money for me to just be like, yo, I need to get after this dude.
I need a cut.
Right, right. Down. Yeah, whatever. It's not worth the amount of time. I have kids. That's time I could be spending with them over money, so I can do what? Get new car mats. Like, what am I gonna like? I'm not gonna get the time back.
Right.
So
right.
let him run with it. But if I see that it takes off, like if I see a nigga basket on Jimmy Kimmel, then I'm hitting this dude up and be like, all right, let's figure this out. Right.
That's generational wealth right there. That's money for my kids right there if you're doing it like that.
Yeah, exactly. So just know that I came up with it. But I think about things like that. Like, all right, I can't get time that I spend away from my kids, I can't get back. So if you're gonna tell me like, yo, there's a tour, no, I'm not gonna do it.
Right.
Because I can't get that time back. I've done the rap thing. I've done it. I love the feeling, but I've never had July 7th, 2021 with my daughter before. I can't get that back.
Facts.
So now if you're like, hey, Kanye West is doing a one-time show in Huntington, Long Island, and yo, I don't have anybody to open. Can you rock? I put my daughter to bed. And I'm there. You feel what I'm saying? That's a little different. That's a once in a lifetime thing. But a tour, I've done tours before. I've done other things, but I've never had this day with her before. I've never played with her on this day. So if I can't get it back with her, I'm not going to trade it. It's those are precious moments. You never know what it is. Like so many people, they don't get to see their kids' first steps. I didn't get to see my kid's first step because she was in daycare when she took it. I picked her up and they were like, hey, she's walking now. I'm like, shit. Great. So I got to see her second and third, like you can't get those things back. So you want to be there for them. So I'm not, that's how I'm thinking about rap stuff. I've done it. I've put the albums out. I know what it feels like to create. I know what it feels like to complete it. I know what it feels like to perform it. I know what it feels like for people to hate it and for people to love it. Like I ran the gamut. Just just because I wasn't like rich and famous, you know what I'm saying? I know what it's like to be on MTV for an entire week.
Mm-hmm.
Most people don't know what that feels like.
Right.
Like I've experienced so many different things that it's time to look at other parts of life. You know what I'm saying? I have a lot more to offer, not only my kids, but myself. You know what I'm saying? Like where I'm at now in my career, like I'm literally creating an investment app. Like how many people can say that they're experiencing stuff like that? You know what I'm saying? And whether I fail, whether it takes off or not, like these are new experiences that I wouldn't trade for the same old. Right. Like I want to move forward in life and be able to say at the end of the day, like I did as many different things that I'm good at as possible. And one of the things I wanted to be good at was being a father. And I want to be able to dedicate the amount of time and effort that I put into rap. I want to dedicate that same amount of time. I used to give my left arm to perform. I've fallen off of stages and had broken bones and still finished the show, because that was the dedication that I had to doing this rap stuff. It was always just that 150%, however much I could possibly give is what I gave. So if I know I can do that for 30 kids who go home and forgot about me, what can I do for the one kid who's never going to forget about me?
Was that at the QN5 Mega Show when you fell off?
Yeah. No, that was when I hurt my leg playing basketball. But that was another time where I still rock. Like my foot swelled up to the size of a football. Oof. From playing basketball at Rocksteady. And I was like, how am I going to do this show? So I put a show together. I didn't say, I can't show up. Right. I still put it down. I rock in the middle show with a cane, like, like I always give that 100%. And, 75% of the people who are at the show either don't remember it, didn't enjoy it, or, just moved on. It was just another show that they went to. Some of it stuck with for life. But at the end of the day, whatever. So if I can do that for them, imagine what I can do for my kids. I can do anything for my kids. Anything.
That's what's up. So those TBDs on your Wikipedia page for those two projects are we need to update the Wikipedia page.
I might be 65 and put it out. Who knows? Like I said, I'm not losing a step. I promise you. You put me on the mic right now, I'll pick up exactly, not even where I'll pick up where I should be today. Because I keep it and I keep it as fresh as it needs to be. Like, and one of the things, I listen to music now because when I was doing music, I didn't listen to anybody because I didn't want, if I happen to sound like someone, I didn't want it to be because I heard them.
Right.
It could have just been like a stylistic coincidence, but I never wanted to listen to, beat nuts because I listen to tone stuff just to check it, just so it's like QA, just to quality check it. But I would never listen to it like on repeat, not because it wasn't dope. I thought it was super dope, but I never ever wanted to be like, all right, he sounds like Cunnilingus, he sounds like Tone Deaf, he sounds like any of them.
Right.
So I never listened to that stuff. But now I listen to music and I'm like, all right, I can do this. I listen to the Dopest Suit, I listen to Black Thought, I'll listen to Tyler, whoever. And I'm like, oh, I could do this easy. I know I could do this. But the second I hear something that I can't, that's going to just put that itch in me. And I'm going to be like, all right. But right now I feel like where everybody's at, I can still hang. Yes. So maybe when I'm a lot older, there's something that I'm going to be like, could I do that? Could I handle that? Then I might test the waters a little bit. For now, I think I could definitely do. I don't think it's caught up with where my head is creatively. I may not have executed those things, but I know that I can do them. And so I'm good with that.
So now the FM stands for Family Man.
It does. Hurry up. Got to mow that lawn.
Yeah, well, thank you so much, PackFM, for coming on Fathers Who Bother to talk about, being the dad to two. I got a lot of girl dads on this show, man. That's an interesting. A lot of girl dads.
Man. That's the thing. Like they change their name when they're done. So we gotta get some dudes up in here, man. Somebody create Sun Squad or whatever you want to call it. We got the sun. I don't know, whatever you want to call it. Just get it done.
Yeah, word. Well, good luck with. Keep us posted on the new arrival, and go can make sure that lawn is cut and the room's ready and all that good stuff, man. Thank you so much, man. Enjoy the rest of your day. This has been Fathers Who Bother with PackFM.
Word up. Thanks for having me, y'all. Have a good life.
You too, man.
See you around, man. All right, peace. Talk to you later.
Peace. If you're enjoying Fathers Who Bother, please make sure to hit that subscribe button and follow us on Instagram at Fathers Who Bother and Twitter at Fathers Who Be. Thanks.